What's up, everybody? I wanted to share with you my newest build. It's based on assault rifles, and it is really good. A lot of fun to play. This one's primarily focused with PvP-oriented stats, meaning I didn't focus on damage to elites, but you can easily tailor this build towards whatever, type of thing you want to do, whether you're PvPing, PvEing, or a mixture of both. And this definitely works for a mixture of both. First, I'm going to go over the gun. I prefer the CTAR as far as the guns I have. I have a friend who's running the FAMAS, and even though it has a 30-round mag, it does do more damage in a burst. It doesn't necessarily do more consistent damage because, you only got 30 bullets. But he runs his FAMAS with strained and the rate of fire. But I prefer the CTAR. I think I have a good CTAR and a bad FAMAS. The damage numbers are really close, even though the rate of fire on the FAMAS is 900. Base CTAR 850, but I've got the extended mag that drops it to 810, but gives me 30 extra rounds. The important talent on the assault rifle is strained. 10% crit damage is gained for every 5% of your armor that's depleted. That is massive damage. When you have no armor, you're now doing 200% crit damage. And at 50% armor, you're doing 100% crit damage. And if you've noticed in Division 1, I think Division 2, one of the reasons crit chance isn't as powerful as before in like Division 1 is the crit damage numbers are much lower. You can't get nearly as much. I usually only have, 40 to 50, maybe 60 at the most of crit damage. And this just makes your crit chance totally worth it. Makes crit chance a best in slot gun mod and gear mod. And it also makes crit damage less worth it. So I had an argument yesterday on stream with someone saying 10 crit damage would be better than, taking my crit chance from 50 to 60. And I strongly disagree and still strongly disagree. But best in slot middle talent, I would say, is rate of fire, Allegro. That'll make your rate of fire even faster, make your damage output more bursty, kill people quicker. Stable works, accurate works, extended mag there works. Any of the above, it's not as important, but I definitely want to try to get a CTAR with Allegro. Another good gun. It works with any assault rifle, really. I didn't really like the shot pattern of the G36, even though it does a ton of damage. I just wasn't liking the shot pattern of it, wasn't liking the RPM as much. FAMAS is real nice, just a small magazine. F2000's okay, but you miss out on the laser. You can't put the laser on the F2000. I still don't have a Police M4, but I've heard they're great. And all the guns can work, but CTAR is my favorite so far. Now, this pairs really well with the chest. This is another very important part of the build, Berserk. 10% weapon damage for every 10% of max armor depleted. It requires a shotgun, submachine, or assault rifle. It's really, really strong. That's 100% base weapon damage when you're empty of armor. 50% armor, you got 50% damage. Combined with, 100% crit damage if you're sitting at 50%. Really, really good. I've tried two versions of this build. One with super high armor, where I focused more on high armor just to have more armor. It goes counterproductive with these stats because you actually need to have low armor for them to really give you that damage benefit. But at the same time, you have more sustainability, especially if you have any armor healing going on. But I kind of went back, instead of primarily focusing armor, I actually would prefer health here. So this actually has a health roll. It's not necessary, but health roll, crit chance, and it rolled vital, which is really cool. 20% health increase. So I'm not actually going to change this. It's a pretty solid chest piece here. Now, as far as the other pieces of gear go, what I find very important for sustainability is on your backpack. It does not need to be Araldi Holdings. Oh, by the way, chest piece, I'm running Fenris. One piece Fenris is very good. 10% assault rifle damage. You don't have to have a Fenris chest, but you do want to have one piece of Fenris somewhere in your build. 10% assault rifle damage for a single piece is amazing. Backpack does not need to be Araldi Holdings, but the important talent here is Safeguard. Killing a target grants 150% bonus to repairing and healing effects for 20 seconds. It requires 5 or less red stuff. I still don't know what to call these. I'm just going to call it red stuff. Some people call it offensive. Some people call it firearms. Sticking with red stuff. It's the same as the requirement for your assault rifle. Strained, 5 or less. The problem with this is it's hard to get the stats that you need, crit chance high enough without actually going over 5. So you may need slots that don't actually have any red attributes, like my backpack, skill, power, and armor. The reason I have that backpack is it pairs with these gloves. Also, do not need to have Araldi Holdings, but I like Araldi Holdings. It's got a good two-piece bonus. You get accuracy, you get headshot damage. So it's a pretty solid 2-piece. You could also go with something like Overlords that gives you the 7.5% armor. You could get 1 piece of Heligard, or not Heligard, I'm drawing a blank. The one that gives, Heligard. 1 piece of Heligard is 5% armor. That could be another option. But the talent you want to look for here is Clutch. Critical hits restore 15% health and repair 2% armor. This scales with the backpack talent. So after you kill someone, you have 100% bonus to your repairing and healing. So you're no longer gaining 2% armor. You're actually gaining 5% armor per crit and 37.5% health per crit, which is insane. You will watch your health and armor just skyrocket when you start critting. Higher the rate of fire, the better this scales. The higher the crit chance, the better this scales. As well as the higher armor and health, because it's a percentage base. So you want to have a nice balance of all of those. This is one of the reasons I think that 60 crit chance, which is the cap, you can't go over 60, is the most important attribute to focus on with your gear and gun mods. You can get that with a wide range of brand sets and attributes. I have crit on my gloves. I have crit on my holster. I think holster is one of the most important spots to get it. You can get a lot. I have 11 crit chance on here. I can get it, I think, up to 14. I've seen a 14 or 14.5. I know 12.5 is real easy to get. And you can get surgical on your holster. So a holster alone can give you over 20 crit chance. And I think it's the best in slot place to get crit chance. I'm only running 1 Wyvern piece now. And that's just so I can get that crit damage. An extra 7% crit damage is not too bad of a single slot bonus. Like I said, another option could be like Heligard. Now, I am running 2 pieces of D&H. You don't need to, but it's also got a good 2-piece bonus. First one's accuracy. Second one is crit damage. So it's a decent bonus there. Now, I have crit chance on these. Not necessary that you have to have it. It all depends on what your brand sets are, what your rolls on your other items are. Don't just wear D&H because I am. You might have better gear in other slots where you can mix and match with Wyverns or whatever. What you just want to focus on is getting to 60 crit chance or as close to it as possible. That's more important than what brand you're wearing. Talent on my knee pads is braced. This isn't necessary, but it's a decent talent. While in cover, your weapon handling, which is your accuracy and your stability, is increased by 25%. It's a pretty noticeable difference. So it's not a bad talent. Some people like the talent that when you go into cover, you regen armor, but that requires 7 blue stuff. And if all of my mods were defensive, I could get 7 blue stuff. All 4 of these, but they're not. They're all either offensive or utility. So my particular loadout can't use that. If I did have the ability to have 7 blue and 5 or under red, I would probably run that talent on my knee pads. Next up is the mask. Mask, I've paired D&H for that 2-piece bonus. Here, we actually have a damage to elites roll and health on kill. Neither of these attributes are what I want on a mask. I'm actually looking for a mask that either has some high crit, so I can drop it elsewhere, or a little bit of crit, because I'm short just a tiny bit of crit chance on this build. I'm short 1.5 crit chance. It's not a major factor to not have that 1.5, but I would like to get a little bit more crit chance, meaning I could get it on my mask and then drop it off my knee pads or drop it off my gloves, preferably. You can get a really high assault rifle damage roll on your gloves. I think you can get like 14%. So what I would prefer to do is get assault rifle damage on my gloves, drop the crit, and then get the crit on the mask instead of the damage to elites. But I just don't have it yet. But I'm looking out for those. Those are my searching items that I'm trying to get. Talents on the mask dialed in is actually really awesome. However, people might not think it works, but it works really good. So right now my CTAR has max stability. If I take dialed in off, let's just throw some Badger Tough here. It still has max stability. So you wouldn't think that the dialed in talent even does anything. If you didn't know what it does while aiming, your weapon stability is increased by 25% of your weapon accuracy. I don't have a ton of accuracy, but let me just show you. We don't have it on right now. I'm going to start an entire mag at the bottom of this wall and just let the recoil do its work. You can see it almost goes to the height of the door, and it's not a ton of recoil. This gun's really easy to control, especially with the way I have so much stability. But watch this. When I throw dialed in on, watch how much better this stability is. It's about half the muzzle climb per magazine. So that's less you have to counteract, and I think it's a really good talent. It doesn't cost anything. It's just on your gun. There's other talents you could go if you're running PvE. You could always run hard hitting. That would be, I think, the best in slot talent for PvE. More damage to elites. But as far as I've seen, there's really not anything very important on a mask. Other than that, best in slot for me. As far as gun mods go, you're going to want to make sure you try to get as much crit chance as possible, as long as you're still needing the crit. I was able to drop the Wyvern's 3-piece bonus, which I used to run, because I finally got my XPS3 holo sight. But this thing was very hard for me to get. I had been running level 3 control points to get these unlocked, and I just couldn't get it. I finally got it yesterday, and then I did another control point, and nothing else is dropping for me. So this was literally the last blueprint that I got. So I don't know how long it takes you guys, but I had a friend who got it as his first blueprint. Was really jealous, but this thing's great. Sure, you lose a little bit of headshot damage, but it is so worth it. I don't understand whoever built these mods didn't quite understand damage ratios in the game, because you can get 12 crit chance on a scope, but you can only get 10 crit damage, and that just doesn't make sense, because this should be 20 crit damage at least for it to even be just, considered as a worthwhile change over the crit chance, because I can tell you in any situation, 12 crit chance is going to be better than 10 crit damage, unless you don't need the crit chance. But if you don't need the crit chance, put it on your scope, because you can get a much higher crit damage roll on a gear attribute than what can roll as a crit chance roll. So very, very good there. Suppressor, I'm running an accuracy suppressor, minus damage to elites. Unfortunately, I'm not sure where the 5.56 flash hider is. That's the one that should give us crit damage. All the other guns seem to have have flash hiders. They give 20 crit damage, but we don't have one yet. It might be locked behind World Tier 5. It might be in a DLC. It might be a reward for a mission that we don't have yet. But as far as I've seen, I don't know anyone who's ever found it. So right now, the accuracy. When the muzzle or the crit damage muzzle comes out, I'll probably end up running that. But accuracy is really good. If you don't know what accuracy does, it keeps your reticle closed up tighter. You have a tighter grouping of your full auto shots, as well as a tighter full close for your first shot accuracy. Underbarrel or side barrel rail, whatever you want to call it, laser pointer. This thing is for sure best in slot for me. It gives you crit chance. You don't have many options on this because it's on the side. You can't use any grips or anything, but thankfully the laser works on the side. So 10 crit right there, not a bad choice. Magazine, pretty self-explanatory here. 30 extra rounds for a loss of 10% rate of fire. I wish I didn't lose the rate of fire, but I think it's worth the extra rounds. There is a lot of other magazines that you can go with if you just want more burst. Unfortunately, there's no rate of fire magazine. If there was a rate of fire magazine that didn't add extra rounds or something, that might be worth it if you're going for pure burst damage like the FAMAS has. But I think that's the best way to set that up. Now, there's one more thing. Actually, two more things. I think this is a really good talent to have on your sidearms, stop, drop, and roll, while equipped, meaning that it just needs to be equipped, not held. Equipped means just as a weapon that's in your build. Rolling removes burning, bleed, and poison status effects. So it's really nice. When you take that fire damage from something, it hurts really bad. All you got to do is combat roll, and you're no longer on fire. It's a lifesaver. It's saved me a lot of times, and I think it's a best-in-slot talent to have on your sidearm. Anything that says while equipped on your sidearm or any gun doesn't matter if it's actually in your hand. It just needs to be there. Now, if it says while holstered, that's a whole different story. When it says while holstered, you actually have to have it not in your hands, just as a secondary gun. And then finally, this thing is amazing. This is the P90 Chatterbox exotic item, and it's a good gun in its own. Unfortunately, it doesn't let you modify it, so it's actually got less crit chance than my assault rifle. And it's got lower rate of fire than a regular P90. 900 is the base of a regular one. It's 700. It's got really good talents, but I don't actually use this for its main talents, which I'm not going to go over just because it's not an integral part of the build, but they're awesome. The one that I really use it for is Blabbermouth. While holstered, reloading your weapon within 5 seconds after a kill grants 20% rate of fire for 10 seconds. It's absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, I can't show it to you right here in the firing range, so you're going to have to wait till after this video, and you'll see some gameplay of it, and it's just amazing. I can actually kill something, reload, shoot an entire magazine, reload again, and then shoot that magazine, and the buff is up that entire time. My reload speed is so fast that there's hardly any downtime, which leads me to letting you know that I think sharpshooter is the best specialization. I know a lot of people are like, all the time when I'm streaming, wondering why I choose sharpshooter with an assault rifle build instead of survivalist, because survivalist lets you get 15% assault rifle damage, which is great. That's 15% more base damage, and that is a lot. But you can make up for that on a single roll of your gloves. You can get 14% assault rifle damage on your gloves, which sure, you could also factor in with this, and then you'd have 29%. But the other talents that you get from this build, I don't think are very good. Unless you're like super healing focused, but skill power right now seems pretty broken. What I think is a lot better option is sharpshooter. You get 25% increased headshot damage. You get 30% increased reload speed, which is what I think is the most important part, and 30% increased recoil, or decreased, better stability. These things are just amazing. These are really great talents. And I don't think that you can replace these. The 30% reload speed, you cannot roll reload speed on anything. Like, other than some gun mods, there's no options for reload speed on your gear. So this isn't even something that you can make up for. You can make up for weapon damage. You can roll that on your gloves, almost 15%, but you can't roll 30% reload speed. Sure, you could get some stability, but 30% is also high. And then you got 25% headshot damage. And sure, that's not as good as 15% base rifle damage, but all three of these combined, I just think lead to a much better overall experience for your gun and build. But it's up to you guys, whatever you want. That's what I prefer, and I'm going to stick with it. The next build I'm going to try is a demolitionist explosive-based build, but that's for another day in another video. So I think I covered everything. If you're wondering about moving talents around, I have some other videos to show that. And yeah, stick around. Here's some gameplay. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check me out live, Twitch TV/Inigo Montoya. Alright, so I'm going to be taking over this level 3 control point. If you're not familiar, level 3 control points are how level 3 or 4 are how you get your blueprints unlocked for your gun mods and gear. It's how you get the scope and all sorts of different stuff. Extended mags for different guns. But I've done so many that I finally unlocked them all. At least that's blocked behind the control point unlocks. So once you get a kill with this gun, you do a quick little reload, and your rate of fire is just absolutely crazy. And it melts things. As you can see, my health is just jumping up when I'm shooting these things. Every crit I do is giving me 5% of my armor back. Whoa. That sniper drone. Need to get in a better spot here. The only downside about the assault rifles is you don't crit point blank, which means you don't have any healing sustained point blank. Whoa, some lag. But when you do get low health, your damage output is just out of control good. Reload speed is really good on this build. The one thing about this talent from the rate of fire on the P90 is that it doesn't actually refresh. You have to let it run out before you can get your next stack of it. So you can't just consistently keep it up. Like after I kill this guy, I can't just reload and have it freshened. Which is understandable. It's already such a OP talent. With this build, you do want to try to keep your range so they're not too close. Since we're not running a submachine gun, you won't get your health back on crit up close. If you guys didn't know, assault rifles have a 10-meter engagement distance. Anything in front of 10 meters will not crit. Submachine guns, shotguns, and pistols are the only ones that can crit point blank. You can easily adapt this build to a submachine gun build. You pretty much just need to drop that one piece of Fenris and put the Sokolov on. Sokolov is for submachine gun damage. As far as skills, I run the Hive Reviver, especially if I'm solo PvEing. I run the Hive Reviver. If I'm in PvP, I'll drop the Hive Reviver for that drone. I am out of ammo. Must be below me. I'll drop it for the drone defender, which can help prevent those one-shot sniper builds that have taken over. They're really annoying. Let's go for the weak guy first. Then we get that rate of fire. Wow. He was not wanting to die. Up close like that, I'm not critting. That's one of the reasons he was not dying fast. I didn't have that crazy crit damage. Use my stop, drop, and roll. Ooh. Making me look everywhere. So rather than healing, I'm just gonna... Someone is burning... Oh, that's my officer. Let's save you. You're a noisy dyer. Move out of my way! NPCs are more annoying than helpful. And we got it. pretty easy. The build's pretty solid. Even in those close calls, the health regen is just so nice with those crits, the rate of fire. And if you do go down, you have that high reviver so that it can bring you back up. But overall, I'm really happy with this build. I actually prefer it over my LMG build now. It's a little bit more fast-paced. You can be a little bit more mobile. And the reload speed is just so fast. I love it. Let me know what you guys think. What have you done differently? Let's see what we get in the supply room. Maybe we'll get something cool on stream or on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out my other videos. I also stream live, Twitch TV/Inigo Montoya, almost every day. So you can check me out there. Ask me some questions if you want. And what did we get? We got an L86 here with nothing amazing. Wyvern Mask. This is not a bad Wyvern Mask right here. I wish this was a DNH mask with these stats. It's got the crit chance. It's got hard hitting. This is actually a real nice Wyvern Mask. You could roll this to armor or leave it as health, whatever you want, or change the talent. But pretty solid Wyvern Mask. But yeah, I think that covers everything. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to ask in the comments. I'll try to check them and respond. But thank you guys again so much. See you around.